Overcharged Amalgam, get this card. Invest in Overcharged Amalgam. I'm telling you, this is going to be dangerous going into things. Yeah, this goes into a Dimir deck really quick. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay. And tonight, we have a very special treat for you. You know what that is? It is the final round of Crimson Vow previews. And I will freely admit, guys, I forgot a very important thing last time. We looked at black and we looked at red, probably the most important colors as it goes. But I forgot to click the multicolored, and we missed some major players here, guys. So before we get started on any of the colors, we're going to do white, then blue, then green, because green is the least important. Yeah, that's right, I said it. But first we're going to start with these multicolors. We're going to actually look at Olivia and Edgar, what I think, and everything else. We're going to look at some of the other legendaries and stuff like that are multicolored. But before we do that, I need you to do something for me. Do you know what that is, guys? If you're new to the channel, I need you to tenderly press that like button. Gently press that subscribe button. Or else, well, guys, the like and subscribe will come and devour you with his vicious werewolf claws. It's gonna happen. You can join us on our stream every night at twitch.tv/thatvillainj for all the live streaming goodness. You too can spam the like and subscribe emote. We'd love to have you there. We're going to be doing a live pack opening Thursday. I'm going to try to get close to 100. I'll see if I can get 100 packs to open Thursday afternoon. So make sure you're following on Twitch for that. You can check out our Discord community for all the latest news and information and other things and memes and everything else. And of course, all the decks that I'm going to build are going to be available on my AetherHub. You can check that out as well. So what are we looking at here? What are we looking at here, ladies and gentlemen? So let's look at the stars of the show. Olivia, Crimson Bride, 4/3 Vampire Noble. It's a Rakdos card, flying haste. And then whenever Crimson Bride attacks, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. It gains when you don't control a legendary vampire and tiles this creature. So she controls everybody when she comes back. She's kind of like a Drana. I will tell you the biggest problem I have with Olivia Crimson Bride is this right here. Can you see that? Can you see that big 6? Guys, with as much removal, as much wipes, as much counters as we have right now, who's going to be able to manage to keep this lady on the board? Who is going to be able to manage to keep that lady on the board in the current meta? Casual play, maybe you'll get it off, but she's so powerful. She's going to be an immediate. She's either going to get bounced, she's going to get removed, she's going to get wiped. By the time you have this much mana, they're going to have that much mana too. They're going to have 4 out. They're going to be able to cast. They're going to have 6 mana out. Boom. They could meat hook her. They could doom scar her. They could do anything they want. Good card. Beautiful artwork. You got to be ramping like crazy to make this really worth it. Sadly, unfortunately, I don't see Olivia really going to work. Ange, Maid of Dishonor, is not that bad. I like her style. One or more vampires enters the battlefield under your control. She creates blood tokens like crazy. What I like is that you can sacrifice another creature or a blood token. Each opponent lose 1 life and you gain 2 life. I like the gain and drain ability. A little bit more feasible. A little bit more feasible cost there. So on a blood deck, yeah, I think so. Now, the other hand, when we're talking about Edgar Charm Groom, we're talking about Orzhov Vamps. Yes, please. Okay, 4 I can get away with. 4 I can get away with, okay? Other vampires you control get +1/+1. He is a vampire noble. When Edgar Charm Groom dies, return it to the battlefield. Transformed under its own control. He becomes a coffin, okay? At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 black and white vampire token creature with lifelink and put a blood counter Edgar Madcard's coffin. When there are 3 or more bloodline counters, remove those coffins and transform and he comes back. So every 3 turns he comes back unless you destroy his coffin. So you need creature destruction, artifact destruction. Much more useful card than Olivia. Much more useful card than Olivia. She is just too expensive. He's moderately priced, and he's got an ability to keep him on the board. He's tricky to get rid of. Absolutely, I like him. Kaya, sure. Yeah, Kaya's Kaya. Kaya's doing her thing. Am I going to use her? Probably not. If you like her, hey, there you go. Dorothea, Vengeful Victim. This is an interesting one here, guys. Attacks or blocks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. You disturb. So a lot of these Geists now, it used to be somebody would die and come back as a Geist. You would disturb them as a Geist. Now we have Geists that you disturb them and they come back as an enchantment. Dorothea's Retribution. Enchant Creature. Okay. Enchanted Creature has whenever this creature attacks, create a 4/4 white spirit token with flying that's tapped and attacking, sacrificed at the end of combat. If Dorothea's Retribution, put in graveyard from anywhere, exile. Same thing as the other ones. So we have a lot of these. This is going to be a template going forward where you're going to have a lot of these spirits. They're coming into the board as spirits, and then they come back to the board from the graveyard as enchantments. Very cool stuff. Everyone was really upset at Odric. Very disappointing card. A 3/3 for 3 is not that great. When Odric enters the battlefield, create a X blood tokens where X is the number of abilities from Monk Flying, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Haste, blah, 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 blah. So you can make a crap ton of blood tokens, but even with something like Ange, Bane of Dishonor, you're going to need to spend money to sacrifice them. I'm going to reserve my judgment on Odric. People are not happy with him. With the new Odric here. He's just... we're really going to have to see how Blood goes. Helena and Alena Partners is really cool. First Strike and Reach is 2/3. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, put X/1/1 counters on another card creature where X is the Hannah and Alena's power. That creature gains haste in the other turn. I really like that. It's kind of a human ranger commander. Gruul commander, even going away from Gruul werewolves, going Gruul rangers or something like that. Even going Temur rangers, very, very cool. There's a frog. I don't really think. Old Rutstein enters the battlefield. On your beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. If a land is milled, create a treasure token. If a creature card is milled, create a 1/1 insect. If a non-creature token is milled this way, create a blood. Interesting. It's going to be interesting to do that set. Two that I want to look at here are Tauren's Fist of the Angels. Really cool stuff. I think is really going to help human, Selesnya humans, and especially Selesnya life gain. Because of the cleric ability. Selesnya clerics is probably going to be coming up. Training, this is a new mechanic. Whenever a creature attacks with another creature greater power, put a 1/1. I believe it's almost like Mentor. Put a 1/1 counter on this creature. It's just a Mentor anybody can have. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 green and human token soldier with training. Very, very cool. Runo Stormkirk, House of Vampire House of Stromkirk. He is the head. Vampire Cleric, and he is Dimir Vamps, okay? He is a 1/4 flying. When he enters the battlefield, put one target creature card from your graveyard to the top of your library. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library, and reveal that card. If the creature card value of 6 or more, reveal, transform, and then he turns into Krothus, Lord of the Deep. It is a Kraken horror. If you don't know a little bit of the Stromkirks, they are coastal and seafaring vampires who like to do magic and turn into mist. So when you're thinking about the vampires that are mysterious and turn into mist and float around in the storms, that's the Stromkirks. Whenever Krothus, Lord of the Deep, attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. If that creature is a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, Serpent, create 2 of those tokens. Are we going to see Kraken sea monster decks? I don't know if that's really going to be a thing. I don't know. A little expensive. We'll have to see. Ancient Lumberknock is going to be pretty interesting because it's basically your toughness does the damage instead of the power. That's a big mechanical change. So you could go with a high toughness creatures attacking. Bloodtide Harvester is not that bad. More Rakdos Vampires. Brian Comer, here's another one that's going to come back as an enchantment. So we're going to have most of these Azoria Spirits come back. I want to take a look at the Skull Scob. Because we're going to talk about zombies tonight. Exploit. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Whenever a non-token creature exploits a non-token creature, create a 2/2 black zombie. So it will create more zombies. Pretty cheap too. You can make a really focused kind of exploit zombie deck. I like Sigardian Paladin. I'm really interested in a night deck, guys. I really like night decks. They used to be my favorite. As long as you put one or more 1/1 counters on a creature this turn, Sigardian Paladin has Trample and Lifelink, and then target you control with a 1/1 counter gains Trample and Lifelink to the end of turn. A little expensive, but damn is she powerful. Yes. On a night deck, on a Selesnya Knight, even on an Abzan Knight, Lifelink and Trample is not to be messed with. I like Sigardian Panic. Markov Waltzer is a little bit too expensive for my taste. I do like that we have some Boros Vamps here, flying in haste at the beginning of your combat. At the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 2 target creatures you control get +1/+0 to the end of turn. It's not that much. Very expensive for what he is. He is hasted, which does help. Markov Purifier, I do like a 2/3 lifelink, 3-drop. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may up to 2. You can draw a card. So. Okay, I can see him slotting him somewhere. I like Child of the Pack. A 2/5 Rakdos Human Werewolf. Create a 2/2 wolf, green wolf token. It's daybound and nightbound. It's kind of Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, if you haven't figured that out. That's the cool thing there. Other creatures you control. Now remember, this is not werewolves. This is other creatures you control get +1. This is not a legendary. You can have as many of these as you want out on the board, okay? 5/5 Trample, potentially for that cheap. Not a bad card. Don't care about that. I think Wandering Mind is going to be a big thing because it's one of those, is it, look for anything you want and put it in your hand. So that being said, those are the double colors. I'm disappointed in Olivia. I think Edgar is going to be up and coming. I'm going to try to use him. They should have given Walter the Luminarch Aspirant effect. Yeah, that would have been good. So we're going to go to white now. Big one that people are talking about. We have an alternate win state, guys. We have an alternate win state here, guys. Everyone gets excited for these. Faithbound Judge. Defender, Flying, and Vigilance. Look at this thing. Look at this box of text here. A 4/4 Flying, Defender, and Vigilance. He is a tough dude. Pretty cheap drop. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Faithbound Judge has 2 or fewer judgment counters on him, put a judgment counter. As long as Faithbound Judge has 3 or more judgment counters on it, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And if he dies, you can disturb him for 7. Sinner's Judgment. Aura Curse, where curses are back. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. Then if there's 3 or more judgment counters on it, enchanted player loses the game. If you cannot get rid of this in 3 turns, you are going to lose the game. So, do you know what I'm saying? Oh, but he has to be disturbed. Guess what? What I want to do with him, I want to put him in an Orzhov deck. I want to hit him with Sacrifice, something like, I want to make sure that he dies. I want to do something like Deadly Dispute on him so I can ramp. I can ramp to that, make sure that he dies, and then bring that back. I can bring multiple of these back. And if you don't have that enchantment destruction, you got 3 turns before judgment drops. Very, very, very interesting. Stormblood, I will hit colorless. I am seeing you. I'm trying not to break the flow of my explanation. Cemetery Protector. Interesting one. Whenever you cast, it creates white humans. Not bad. It's flash by invitation only. This is weird. This is going to get a lot of play, guys. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. Like, people are going to use the hell out of that. Like, I don't know why they think that people aren't, like, if you're not running a creature deck, that's basically just a board wipe. It's basically another board wipe. No problem, Stormblood. I thank you for reminding me, because probably I would have forgotten if you hadn't said anything. Hallowed Haunting, interesting. Savior of Orblock. It's got training, exile, blah, 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 blah. Hopeful Initiate. So, Katilda, this is an interesting one. I want to look at flying lifelink protection from vampires. So she is a spirit warlock. This is the Dawnheart Martyr. She was the one trying to start the Dawnheart festivals at the Celestis, okay? And she got killed by Olivia. She come back as a ghost. She is a very powerful ghost, and she is protected from vampires, and her other one is protected from werewolves. Her power and toughness are equal to a number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. So she is your spirit and enchantment, basically everything here. Then you can disturb her, and then she's Katilda's Rising Dawn. I guess in the story, hashtag spoiler, obviously they are going to bring the sun back again. Innistrad, if in case you didn't know, Innistrad's whole plane is not going to be consumed by darkness forever. Okay, big surprise there. Okay, let me spoil let me spoil a bunch of other movies for you too. The bad guys win. The bad guys lose and the good guys win. Okay, so Enchanted Creature has flying, lifelink, and protection from vampires, and it gets +X, where X is the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. If Katilda's Rising Dawn would be put in a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So this thing here, this is begging for a Selesnya humans with Maskwood Nexus. That way, everything you control, if you have 1,000,000 cards on the board, every creature you control is now a spirit because you have Maskwood Nexus. So Katilda, yeah, please, thank you. That's going to be an interesting one. So everyone is excited about Thalia. I wish she had. I wish she come back a little different, but she's good. She is going to be your death and taxes waifu right here. 2/1 first strike, 2-drop, fantastic. Soldier. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. If you're going to put all the other curses that I showed you in my Death and Taxes video, if you're going to try to lock people's out mana and stuff like that, she can slot nicely in just about anything, and she will certainly help. I have a couple ideas for her. We're going to see. So Garden Summons, this is cool but expensive. Creatures you control with 1/1 counters have a base power and toughness of 4/4, flying, and are angels. Okay. Sounds awesome, right? Look at that price. There was other decks like this before that, like, everything became an angel and a bunch of angels exploded out. But that price, man, they got to have 1/1 counters on them too. I don't know. It's going to be a big if there. Hopeful Initiate. We have some good, decent whatchamacallits here. Welcoming Vampire. We have a white vampire. Probably for the first time since Battle for Zendikar. Not Zendikar Rising, but Battle for Zendikar. There have been white vampires in the past. No, I'm sorry. We had white vampires in the. We had white vampires in Search for Ixalan. Flying. Whenever one or more creatures enters the battlefield with power 2 or less under your control, draw a card. You get a free card whenever you're making a small creature deck. Very, very useful for kind of a white small creature aggro deck. Voice of the Blessed, I really do like. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter Voice of the Blessed. You always see these in white. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 4 1/1 counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance. As it has 10 or more, it has Indestructible. Whoo, yeah, it's easy to get that, guys. If you've ever seen one of those Selesnya life gain decks, you can see things get 10 counters on it pretty quick. That is not a tricky thing to do. Voice of the Blessed is definitely going to be something to look at there. I like Wedding Announcement. They're very, very happy that they're coming to get they got their wedding invitation. At the beginning of your end step, put in an invitation counter announcement. If you attack this turn with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. Otherwise, create a white human token. Then a wedding announcement has 3 or more, transform it. Then wedding festivities. Creatures you control get 1/1. So it's kind of a roundabout way of creating humans and then putting 1/1 in everything. Angelic Quartermaster, little bit expensive for an angel. I don't really think she's going to be that useful at 5. You do put 1/1 counters on everyone. If you're building a counter deck, it's useful. Arm the Cathars is not bad either. Up to the end of turn, target creature gets +3. Up to one target creature +2. Blah, 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 blah. Vigilance. That is going to be useful for aggro decks. Bride's Gown. It's actually white. Did you know that her gown is a white? Very, very useful here. Equipped creature gets 2. It gains an additional 2 as long as a Groom name Groom's Finery is out. So this is a pair stuff. There's a lot of stuff up here about pairs. 2 creatures get this. 2 if you attack with 2 creatures, you get that. If you have 2 things, obviously it's a wedding thing. Dawnheart Geist, whenever you can an enchantment, you lose 2. That's going to be big. And enchantments are coming back in a big way this set, guys. I'm going to keep an eye out for enchantments. You're going to really want to stock up on enchantment removal, because I think enchantments, they kind of went away with Theros. Theros had a lot of powerful enchantments. They're kind of on their way back. Distracting Geist and Clever Distraction, not bad. Circle of Confinement. Another good exile a creature 3 or less. Whenever an opponent casts a vampire with the same name as exiled Circle of Confinement, you get some stuff. Any bulk enchantment removal. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know all the cards by heart yet. Resistance Squad, Radiant Aura. Here is another werewolf. No, this is a rogue. Panic Bystander. I like this for Orzhov. I saw this one earlier. I'm thinking of the other one. Whenever Panic Bystander, another creature you control, dies, you gain 1 life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, trap them. Help, there's a horrible monster. And then, of course, they fall for it every time. When Cackling Culprit or another creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. And then, of course, he gains Death Touch. So he feeds on death. Probably going to use this guy a lot. A little bit more cavalry. A lot of soldiers. I think we might be able to rack out a soldier deck. Again, here's some Twin Blade Geist here. I really like this one because it's double strike. A 2-drop double strike with Disturb. Not bad, especially that it's not flying, but Enchant Creature, it has double strike on it. So a lot of these coming back are going to be really, really useful. Estwald Shield Basher. It attacks, you may pay 1. It gets indestructible. Any kind of attacking, look at that, 4/2 attacking indestructible. We have 2 cards that are almost like Seasoned Hollowblade coming back. They're very, very, very useful. Cards that can at will get indestructible are unbelievably useful. Watch out for Estwald Shield Basher. I know that's expensive, but damn, if you put First Strike and Trample on this, put it with a Selesnya or something like that, or a Boros, you're going to see something. Enchanted Creature gets +2/+2 if Drugstore Armaments. So this is all these things, they come back. All these guys come back as enchantments, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I know he's a common, but man, indestructible for 1 when attacking, that is a pressure play right there. There used to be a vampire called, what was it called? It was like a 1/1, but you could give it +3 and pay 3 life and it got indestructible. And for a white aggro card, God, what was it called? Sure Striker, Dawnheart, I can't remember. It was out of Ixalan. Maybe somebody can remember that vampire. It was very powerful. It was in a lot of meta decks. You paid life and made it indestructible and gave it +3 or something. Very useful card. I'm getting vibes from that, except it's not a rare, it's a common. So I think you could do something with him. A lot of useful things. We have knights, we have birds, we have more spirits. Not too many commons. Piercing Light's not bad. Where was the one that I really, really liked? Sanctify is a cheaper. Sanctify is, I wanted to look at this one because destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 3 life. It's cheaper than, what was that one called? It's called Invoke the Divine. Invoke the Divine. That costs 1 more and you gain 4 life. I like this one a little swifter, a little cheaper. Unholy Officiant, another Vampire Cleric. 1/2 Vigilance, great early drop for clerics, great early drop for vampires, and then of course you can pump him up. Supernatural Rescue, I do like this one. Has Splash as long as you control Spirit. Whenever you cast a spell, tap up to 2 card creatures you don't control, enchant creature you don't control, and it gets +2. So you can really, really do stuff with that. A little expensive, but okay. Sigarda's Imprisonment, alright. Vampire Slayer, whenever Vampire Slayer deals damage to a vampire or destroy it, hey, you knew it would happen. Yeah, Invoke the Divine, that's it. Sanctify is just a cheaper Invoke the Divine. I do like that. I do like that ability. So those are the white ones I'm pretty excited about. We're going to do blue real quick here, and then we're going to go to green because there's not too many I want to do off of either one of them. Necroduality, easily very good. Non-token zombie enters the battlefield, create a copy. Absolutely. There's some good Sky. There's some good Geists here, which are, of course, the blue spirits. Cemetery Illuminator, Spirit. There's another Kraken, Geralf. This guy, you're going to see a lot of this guy. Zombies you control have flying. How are you going to deal with that, man? How are you going to deal with that? Every zombie you have is flying. He's a 1/4, so he's going to avoid most red removal unless they have a Thundering Rebuke. Do you like it, sister? It's a dreadful visage was inspired by your own. By the way, this is Gisa's brother. He's a Stitcher. He's like an alchemist zombie here, and she's a magic necromancer. He's a Stitcher. So they used to be on the card together. And they have a weird relationship. You can sacrifice another zombie, another non-token creature. Create an X blue zombie creature where X is the sacrifice creature's toughness. Here's the thing about that. People are like, oh, what is good is that? If they're trying to hit removal on your zombies, just sacrifice them and turn them back into zombies. Fantastic stuff. Really, really like that one. Overcharged Amalgam. This is going to be the death knell for a lot of people. People are going to learn to hate this card. 3/3 zombie horror, flash and flying. Exploit. All you have to do is exploit, which means you sacrifice a creature when you play it. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You don't see that often in Magic. You see a lot of counter spells, but this means if something is already on the board and they want to activate it, it won't work if you flash this guy in with a sacrificed ability. Overcharged Amalgam, get this card. Invest in Overcharged Amalgam. I'm telling you, this is going to be dangerous going into things. This goes into a Dimir deck really quick. Here we have the Cleave mechanic, which I haven't talked about very much. If you pay the Cleave cost, you remove the brackets. You can draw 3 cards, or you have no maximum hand size. Mirror Hall Mimic. It turns into a Ghastly Mimicry. It turns into basically the same thing. Cobbled Lancer is a zombie horse. Isn't that weird? It's a person horse thing. As an addition to casting cost, exile a creature from your graveyard. Exile Cobbled Lancer from your graveyard. Draw a card. Not great. He's pretty cheap. That's the thing. Diver Scab is an exploit. Too expensive for me. Winged Portent. Where's Raven? How you doing? Hey, Numbskull. What's up? I see here we have Tanuki came in. What's up, everybody? I'm sorry I haven't been talking. OG Senpai, how you doing? Patchwork Crawler. I do like this one. Exile a card from your graveyard and put a 1/1 counter on Patchwork Crawler. Patchwork Crawler has all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. He will eat things out of your graveyard, and then he becomes those things. Yes, please. Yes, thank you. I will take 1. I'll take 4, actually. So if you have anything with an activated ability, and he eats it out of the graveyard, he's going to absorb the abilities of that creature, okay? Meaning that if he absorbs Geralf Visionary, if Geralf dies, he can absorb Geralf and get this sacrifice ability put onto him. That's what he does, okay? Yes, I will take 4. 1/2 zombie horror for 2-drop, please. Look, it's another eggy thing. It's another egg. It's one of those eggs. You think that's gonna go into the He's only 2 blue. He's only 2. He's only 1 blue and 1. Count Selund. Do you think this eggy is gonna go into the Izzet decks? I think it is. Biolume egg. It turns into a sea serpent. This is your kind of Magikarp Gyarados abilities here. It's a 0/4 defender. It's same as the Ashmouth egg. Sorry, this website is very, very slow to load. I don't know why. I guess they don't have very many servers. So I click blue, and it won't take me back to blue. There we go. So this is going to go in your Izzet decks there, guys. Everyone's going to hate it. When it enters the battlefield, you get to scry. Whenever you sacrifice Biolume egg, return it to the battlefield transformed. And then it comes back as a 4/4. Sacrifice 2 islands. Serpent can't be blocked. The previous one, it's basically a different version of the Ash egg. Don't think that that's that good. I like that he's an old-timey diver. I think that's funny. Gutter Skulker. I like that it can't be blocked. A little expensive for me. Lunar Rejects are weird, twisty things. return Lunar Rejection. I'm sorry. This is a return target wolf or werewolf to its owner's hand. Very useful. Draw a card. You're probably going to see that a lot. Mischievous Cat, guys. I like this one. I like the ghost cats we send. Cat-like Curiosity. He gives you a magic ball of string. Deals combat damage to a player. Draw a card. Always useful. A little bit of a Toski effect there. Cat Spirit. And then somebody gives them that ability. Always useful to draw cards. Now, I want to talk about this one, guys. This is going to be the one. If there's going to be one thing that's going to shake up the meta, if there's going to be one single card that does it, that's going to change things. Let me tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be Wash Away. Why? Counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. 1 blue mana. All you need to stop Alrund's Epiphany, or for that matter, Doomscar, or anything cast from exile that's any Foretold Scar card, is 1 blue mana. Wash Away will get rid of it. I don't know how effective it's going to be. I don't know if people are going to have counters for it. You can cleave it, so it's like a useful card for any situation, but if it's not cast from their hand, it's countered. Very, very useful. Everything else is pretty nice. Cradle of Safety, not bad. Look at that baby. There's not too many other things that I want to go over. Repository Scob is not bad. There's a few horrors. There's a crab one here. There's a lot more other things like that. Plenty of spirits. Siphon Essence is a blue blood token one, so that's a really interesting one. I do like Stitched Assistant. This is an exploit. It lets you scry. Wretched Throng is not bad. 2/1. You search your library for a card named Wretched Throng, reveal it. That's not a bad one. So, all in all, some decent amount of good blue cards. Thank you for following Ignite Pies. Yeah, 1 blue for that one. That might shift thing. Let's take a look at green, and then we'll take a look at colorless. Green is the last one we're going to be looking at here. Why is egg going? Is it? How, do they sack? There's a few things that let you sacrifice things, especially if they're playing black and they have to. Overbuck Caretaker. This is a very interesting one. Guys, these expensive cards, man, they're just not viable right now. They're just not viable. I'd love them to be more and more viable. They're just not. I do like Cemetery Prowler, though. He's viable because he's cheap. 3/4, enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from the graveyard. Spells you cast cost 1 less for each card they share with exiled cards. So he makes things cheaper, and he's pretty sweet. That's a pretty good wall. Ascendant Pack Leader is not bad either. He is a 1-drop. Enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it if you control a permanent with a mana value of 4 or greater. Whenever you cast a spell of mana 1 more greater, send a pack leader. Yes, please. Cultivator Colossus. We have any stompy green players here, guys? Look at that price. Yes, you're going to see this guy, of course. Equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, draw a card. You're going to see him get played. Mono green landfall, even Gruul landfall, he's going to get played. He's going to be a win state. The problem is, if you don't have these Snakeskin Veils to protect him, he's going to die to removal pretty quickly. Green ramp, the last thing they needed was something this big, because he's going to slot real nicely into any kind of green ramp deck. Dig Up. It's got a Cleave Plus and black, so it's technically a Golgari one. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, then put it in your hand. So, again, it just lets you look for a basic land card. But, however, if you cleave, you can look for any card, so it's kind of a secret demonic tutor. Glorious Sunrise is very useful. Another enchantment. At the beginning of your combat, turn 1. You get these all the time. Another green ramp card that's going to be really effective. So you don't get this just once. Every single turn, you get one at the beginning of combat. Creatures you control get 1/1. Target land gain a ton of trees. Draw a card if you control 3 or greater, or you gain 3 life. Glorious Sunrise, for green enchantment, green aggro, very, very useful. Howling Moon at the beginning of your combat on your turn. Target wolf or werewolf you control gains +2/+2 in the end of roll. Whenever casts a second spell each turn, create a 2/2 green werewolf token. So this is your anti-second spell tech right here. There are several things that are anti-second spell tech. Gruul is looking to be the answer to second spell mono white, because if you put it with Curse of Shaken Faith, which Curse of Shaken Faith is any spell beyond the first one that they cast deals 2 damage to them. If you do Howling Moon and Curse of Shaken Faith, you're going to shut down second spell decks. They're done. You're going to be flooding them. So Howling Moon, one to watch there. Hive Heart Shaman, yeah, if you like insects, sure. If you like insects, you probably play Scoots, and, you know. Ward 2. I like that it has Ward. This slots real nicely in a human deck. Howlpack Piper. Spell can't be countered. Extremely useful to fight against Izzet. You may put target creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If it's a wolf or werewolf, untap it. Activate only as a sorcery. Really strong stuff here. Windsong Howler. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transform, look at the top 6 cards. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest, blah, 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 blah. That's going into green decks. Green is looking pretty Ascendant here. Now, I don't particularly like green. It's probably my least favorite color, but I respect it. Green is going to be hard to do. Look at this crazy thing. Ulvenwald Oddity. 4/4, trample and haste, and it has a built-in transform. Guess what? It turns into the Ulvenwald Behemoth. People are saying, where is Emrakul? Where's Emrakul? Well, this guy has a little bit of Emrakul left over in him. So you wanted to see some Emrakul. You wanted to see some more additional stuff that's Emrakul-esque, as it were. Here it is, guys. He has a crazy monster thing in his claw thing in his stomach that's tentacles. Trample, haste. Other creatures you control have +1 in trample and haste. Yes, you need a lot of green mana, but honestly, is that very hard? He's going to probably be... What's that one that was real powerful for a while? Questing Beast. He's like the new Questing Beast, Ulvenwald Oddity. Splendid Reclamation. We see here we have Ren and 7 doing their thing. Return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Possible. Bramble Worm. I used to love worm decks back in the day when I thought that power and toughness was the biggest thing. I think that the most useful thing for something like Bramble Worm is going to be resurrecting it from your graveyard for cheaper. There are no elves on Innistrad, as a matter of fact. I think that they all died of a broken heart or something weird like that. I don't know. That's something that elves would do. The vampires came and the sun turned and the moon turned red and they all died of a broken heart and turned into trees. Who the hell knows? There are no elves, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depends how you feel. Human Ranger. We have a lot of good Rangers with training and stuff like that. Crawling Infestation. We have a few more green insect things. Dormant Grove. And then Gnarl, Glove Strider, other creatures you control, Vigilance. You can see that green and blue have a lot of stuff that starts absorbing other things. They start giving everything else. So other things you control have Trample. Other things you control have Haste. Other things you control have Vigilance. Laid to Rest. Whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. Whenever a creature you control dies with a 1/1 counter in it, you gain 2 life. For your human counter decks, easy slot in, a little expensive. Infestation Expert. We're still getting more insect stuff here. And then there's an infested werewolf for you in case you're gross and you want to make gross decks full of insects because you're a Simic player and you have no conscience. Oakshade Stalker, I like. I like Human Ranger Werewolf. I think Rangers are going to be tough. Pretty cheap. You may cast the spells, though it had flash if you pay 2 more, so you can flash him out for pretty cheap, especially if it's night and you're going to transform into a 6. You can surprise people with that. I've gone through every other color Ignite Pies. I'll show you in a second. Packsong Pup, not bad. Retrieve, I think we've had that before. Look at that, it's a chainsaw. Equipped creature gets 3/3. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, you may sacrifice a forest. If you do, that creature gains trample. So it basically, you chainsaw, sacrifice forest, and you rip people up. Wolfkin Outcast is not a bad one. We do have a Wedding Crasher there. Bramble Armor is not bad. It's not as good as Bramblewood Armor, or what was the other one that was called? Blanchwood Armor. Plus X for every forest you control. Anyone remember Blanchwood Armor? Crushing Canopy, destroy target creature flying, destroy target enchantment. Very useful. Arcane Sharpshooter, training, Rage and training. Apprentice Sharpshooter, sorry. Dawnhard Disciple. Whenever another human enters the battlefield you control, Dawnhard Disciple gets +1 to the end of turn. Wish it was a little bit better than that. Flourishing Hunter. Look at that Wolf Spirit. Pretty good overall. Here are some more insects. Here are some more insectoid stuff. Mulch. Reveal the top 4 of your libraries. Put all land cards in sway in your hand. So they do have a lot of ramp. Snarling Wolf we had. Snarling Wolf we had for a while. He's back. This is actually a reprint. And Spore Crawler. Whenever Spore Crawler dies, draw a card. We do have some more fungus. There's a fungus among us. And Weaver of Blossoms. Decent werewolf. Toxic Scorpion. I love these. This is going to be great in the... I love Scorpion cards. Scorpion cards in Magic are always pretty good. Whenever it enters the battlefield, another creature you control gains Death Touch at the end of turn. And he's a 1/1 Death Touch. Good stuff. And there's some extended art. So, green, pretty much as you expect. Green is... There's usually not very many surprises with green, to be honest, guys. There's just not surprises with green. We know what to expect from green. It's big, stompy cards, ramp, and enchantment destruction. They're usually not pulling. Green doesn't have any crazy new mechanics. They're kind of a support color, but they're very, very strong. I wish I could tell you that they were, a million times better. But no, they're pretty good. Oh, yeah, I missed that one down there. This Horse Spirit, I like that. Those are commanders. I just like this art. I know it's only for commander, but I really like that art. So let's look at some artifacts, and then we'll close it up. I think green is going to be Ascendant. I think green is going to be crazy. What have I gone through? So, Ignite Pies, let me tell you that if you want to go to my YouTube channel, I have a YouTube channel, my guy, and I have the full review of red and black and all the main vampires there. I've already done this video, which is going up tomorrow, is white, blue, and green, and colorless, and the gold cards. But I wanted to kind of give the vampires their own video, give them a little room to breathe. So, that being said, if you want to check that one out, it's down there. There's not too many things that I think are that fantastic, aside from, I think we have Groom's Finery somewhere. I can't, Blood Servitor is not bad. Dollhouse of Horrors is funny. Boarded Window is, creatures attacking you get -1. It's kind of thematic. Foreboding Statue is an interesting one. This actually could do some damage here, because he turns into a crazy monster. So at the beginning of your add one mana of any color. He starts as a mana rock. Put 1 omen counter. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 3 or more omen counters. So he starts as a mana rock. When he's generated 3 mana, he turns into this 5/5 Thresher and gives you 1 free mana. So Foreboding Statue is probably the only one that I think is pretty good for a mana rock. Turns into a crazy monster. Wedding Invitation, I like it. Can't be blocked this turn. It's a vampire. It all gains lifelink. That's useful. Honored Heirloom, that's an Avacyn symbol. Add 1 mana of any color. Exile target creature card. So, of course, this is the Travails. This talks about, that was when Emrakul thing was the Travails. If you ever see anything story moment, if you ever see anything about the Travails, that is when Emrakul attacked. Ceremonial Knife, Blood Servitor, that's a weird thing. Creates blood tokens. Not too many artifacts or anything like that are too great. If we take a look at lands here, we have these Snarl Lands. This is kind of I think this is the rest of the Snarl Lands. We have enters the battlefield unless you control 2, enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more lands. So you want to have more lands into play to do this. So this is the rest of the set for the double lands, if you want them. Evolving Wilds is coming back, so it'll be with us for a little while. The Voldaren Estate. Add 1, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, spend this to only cast vampires. That is a useful mana land for vampires. And then, of course, you can create blood tokens for 5, which is a bit unnecessary. So that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Is there anything that I missed? Where was Groom's Finery? Groom. Let's look for, yeah, there's Groom's Finery. It's a black card. So we did it yesterday. So there was the white one, and then there's the black one. It goes into Orzhov. So equipped creature gets +2, and as long as it has Death Touch and +2 in Death Touch, as you have Bride's Gown. So they go together. I just wanted to show you the complete of that. And the Bride is white, Bride's Gown, +2, and First Strike. So it would have First Strike and Death Touch if you had both of them out. So there's a lot of 2 things on there. So that's going to wrap up the spoilers and looking at all of these different cards. White is looking good. Honestly, I think that, as sad as it, I think red really got the short end of the stick this season. I have to ask my mono red experts. White looks pretty good. Green looks pretty good. Blue is always doing its own thing. I think blue has the biggest shake-up cards with these counters and zombies. I'm really hoping we can shake the meta up, guys, because it's getting very boring out there, guys, unfortunately. I'm really looking forward to Crimson Vow. I've got a lot of cool stuff waiting. I got a lot of cool surprises. I have special artwork that I've commissioned. I've got music that I've commissioned. I love vampires. I love horror. So I hope you stick around me for that. Leave a like on this video. I've been Jay Villain, and you've been great. Let's check out Crimson Vow Thursday morning. And I'll be there with bells on in my finery for the wedding. I hope you RSVP too. The word of the day is going to be wedding, and I am out of here. Goodbye, everyone, and good night.